King Solomon, he had a son named Rehoboam. That rascal, instead of listening to wisdom from elders, he listened to wisdom from his contemporaries, and it caused the kingdom to be divided. Rehoboam was the king of the 2 southern tribes. Who was the king of the 10 northern tribes? His name, Jeroboam, and he had himself a little bit of a problem. You see, God's authorized location for worship was Jerusalem, the temple. Only it was a grievous sin to think that you could commune with God any other place than one location in Jerusalem, the temple. That leaves a king who's trying to control his people with a little bit of a conundrum. If I send these Jewish people in the northern tribes into the southern territory to go to Jerusalem, to the festivals, to go to the temple for the sacrifices, they might not want to come back. So what's a rascally king to do? He created places where people could worship outside of Jerusalem. It's okay, said he. We'll build little locations in Dan, and locations all around the northern kingdoms so that you don't have to go to Jerusalem. Don't worry about it. In fact, not only that, we'll give you a visual representation of God. And so it is, he carved out fashioned idols for people to worship in unauthorized locations. That is why when you read about rascally kings in the Old Testament, they're always described as having committed the sin of Jeroboam. That's right. A king was determined to be a good one or bad one based on the sin of Jeroboam. Imagine that. Not slaughtering people in an unjust way, not pillaging, not raping. No. The sin of Jeroboam. If you were tagged with that, that was the big, ugly sin. Now, we would do well to ask, okay, not good. God gave a little rule about the location of worship. Why would he be so bent about other kings creating worship centers that weren't the authorized location? There's worse sins than that. That is why we must remember the study of typology in the Old Testament. There are people, there are places, and there are things that are fuzzy pictures of Jesus Christ himself, and one of them is the tabernacle, and I believe all of the furniture inside of it. Hebrews 8, 9, and 10 tells us that that temple and the sacrificial system was a fuzzy picture of Jesus Christ. In the Old Testament, there's only one place where you can commune with God. There's only one way to do that and to be in that relationship with God, and Jesus is the fulfillment of that fuzzy picture. Jesus came and he tabernacled among us. Jesus Christ is the technicolor reality of that fuzzy picture of the temple in the Old Testament. God was pointing to Jesus Christ, the only way to get to him. Now we suddenly get it. When the king would say that there are other ways to get to God, that was to besmirch, to make a mess of the picture of the gospel. In other words, in the Old Testament, when God was insisting, no, there's only one way to get to me. There's only one way. It was a foreshadowing, a way of saying, Jesus Christ is the only way to get to me. And any other system is idolatry, and it will end in damnation. Suddenly, God's peculiar laws make a great deal of sense, and they show us the elegance of the Bible. We don't unhitch the Old Testament. It is a glorious pointer, a relentless shouting, hey, there's one to come. There's a greater, there's a better. Look for him. You and I can be so encouraged that Jesus Christ is indeed the promised Messiah by looking at the Old Testament and seeing him there, not by crawling underneath rocks and inventing pictures of Jesus Christ, but when the New Testament says that thing in the Old Testament is actually a picture of Jesus in the New Testament, then we know for a fact that is a type of Jesus. That is why God cared so much about the temple in Jerusalem being the only way to get to him, because Jesus Christ, our better temple, is the only way to get to God. If you have been wavering in your belief that the Bible is elegant and there's a scarlet thread that runs through it demonstrating that it is indeed the inspired, infallible, inerrant, sufficient Word of God, let the temple in Jerusalem demonstrate to you Jesus Christ is the way, and the book that reveals him can be believed. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is